Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. What we're doing today and for this video is going to be installing the Pertronix igniter, which basically takes off the condenser and point system in the distributor and installs it with the electronic setup. Alright, here we go. Try to get the best angle I could. So first thing we'll do is open up the instructions here and pull out all the contents. It does have a set of instructions here. Comes with some ends, a couple screws, and there's a 30 thousandths, I believe, spacer in here, which we'll get to that a little bit. And then of course you have your new spacer. And then your electronic points sensor here. First thing we're going to do is get the old points and condenser out of here. So we're going to actually pop this off. Boop. And it's probably not a bad idea to replace your rotor either. I'm probably going to if I can find one pretty quick before I dive into all this. If worst case, that one doesn't look too bad. I might just polish up the tip and then we'll be okay. Alright, so take that screw out. Let's let that go free. This screw comes out. Has a ground strap on it too. Take that guy off. Take this screw out. Pop your grommet through and your factory wire. And boom. This is what the old setup looks like. And you can see this tip here is worn pretty good. So these were due to be adjusted. That actually rides on this, and when it hits one of these uppers, that's how it knows to go. So when it hits a ridge, as you can see, like right here's a ridge or here's a ridge, this thing pops back, boop, see, boop, makes contact and sends out the signal. For safe measure, I see this is your little grounding strap. When you yank this guy off, I'm going to clean under it and polish it, just so I make sure we got good ground. Since we all know electrical is really, anything electrical really relies on a good ground. So I'll take a piece of my pad here. Now overall this ground strap looks fine. So I mean you can always replace it if you thought you needed to. But I'm not too worried about it. It looks fine. Fish your two wires through the distributor hole. Then you have your grommet there. So that's set. So put this guy here. And that should allow this, the saying this nipple here should go here in that hole. Before I get too far, you put this down over your cam here, and basically you see how it's kind of curved, or it has like indentions in it. Those will line up here. You can kind of see how it's indented out. Put that down. Alright, so that's on. Now you want to take your feeler gauge here, which is a glass. If you can see it, feeler gauge, it came with it, and you want to stick between. And basically, and just kind of kick it in. And tighten it down. So pull your feeler gauge out. All right, I think we're good. Pretty confident in that. All right, guys, we're getting close to the fire up point. Kind of been working on it off and on today. We're pretty well buttoned up. Got everything put back on. Ran the electric choke wires. Got the coils, the Pertronix wired up, and it's ready to go. I got to finish the inside installation of the Pertronix, and what I mean by that is I need to get a solid 12 volts going to the coil for this thing to function properly. So I'm tapping on the back of the ignition. I'm tapping the same post that pink resistor wire comes out of. I'm tapping, it's like a green and red or green and pink striped wire. It's the same post, so it's going to get the same 12 volts. So I'm tapping into it, and then I ran a wire through the firewall and through the engine bay here. I'll kind of show you. You kind of look back there, you can kind of see the brighter red wire. These factory wires are in a black loom, so the red wire you see is the one that I ran. And I just kind of neatly tied it to the original wiring harness all the way up. And then as you can see here, you have two wires. You have the black and the red wire coming onto the Pertronix unit, which go to the coil, which goes to your negative and positive on the terminal, or the coil here. There we go, that's a better view. And then the wire that I put in, I just put a terminal on the end, some red shrink tubing, and then hooked it up to the positive side. Okay guys, this is going to be a bit hard to see in here, but I have the ashtray out here. That's why I have the hole in the dash. But if you look up in this whole wiring harness here, I'm trying to balance the camera in the light. This wire here that I got my finger on, it's dirty. That wire there, bit dirty, but that's your pink resistor wire, and you can tell it's the resistor wire because it's a bit thicker than the rest of them, and it's pink, but it's dirty, so it's hard to see pink. But coming out of the ignition on the same spade of the ignition key is this green wire, which has a pink or red tracer. That has a full 12 volts as well as soon as the key hits on. So what I'm going to do is tap that wire for my 12 volts to the Pertronix. I kind of read this on a forum, and it's going to work perfect. So that's what we're going to do. So that's your resistor wire, and then this here, the wire I'm pulling off my 12 volts from. And then, you know, we'll test it once we get it on, turn ignition on, but that is where we're going to pour a full 12 volts. So let me do this. It's kind of hard to do and kind of hard for you guys to see, so I'm not going to film it, but I'm going to get up in here and do it. Alright guys, just to show you the final kind of installation of this wire, resistor wire bypass. As you can see, let's get you up in here a little bit better. There it is. And as much as I hate using those little blue splicers, that's really the only way that I could get in here without really totally messing up this wiring harness, which I'm trying not to do. So I kind of got it tucked up in there, nice. Not even going to know what it is unless you know what you're looking for. And if I ever need to return this thing back to stock, easily done. Pop that off, put a little electrical tape around it, and you never know it was there. So that's what I did. So there's the final of that. I just got to put the ashtray back in. throw the ashtray back in, and then basically I'm done with the Pertronix. As you can see, which most of you probably already know, is with the Pertronix, you can't even tell. I mean, if you don't know what you're looking for, you would never really even know that there's anything different, you know, in the engine bay. That's what's nice. Let's pop this cap off. And you can see the unit there under the rotor. I did replace the distributor rotor. The cap looks fine, but there you can kind of see the unit. So very stealthy, that's what I like. It's kind of what I was going for when I put this in. So that's all done. I'm hoping to start it here very shortly. So that kind of finishes up the Pertronix electronic ignition installation, if I can talk. As I said, I put the igniter 1 on and one of their flamethrower coils. So that finishes up that part. So if you have any questions, feel free to shoot them down on the bottom. Obviously I'm going to have to retime it. I knew I was going to have to do that anyway because I had the thing tore apart. So if you do this, just make sure you have access to a timing light, which I bought one back there on the bench. So if you have any questions, feel free to drop a comment in the bottom. Stay tuned for the next video where we start and fire this thing up. We'll see how it sounds, we'll time it, and hopefully we'll be able to take it for a drive if the weather cooperates. So thanks for hanging out. Like I said, drop a comment, like the video, give me any suggestions of what you want to see on the video, see more of, see less of. This is all just kind of a learn as we go thing for me too. So if you want to see something different or you want more details on something, I can always make a video just to kind of go into more detail on anything that I've done. Like, subscribe, and we'll see you guys next video.